Hello and welcome to my comic picks for the week of the 6th. And I missed out two books this week. I didn't get Convergence number 5 and I didn't get Zero number 16 because my comic store said one of their boxes got shipped to some drop point that wasn't them. So I didn't get those. They said they might get them Friday. Whatever. We'll just assume that Convergence would have been my least favorite book of the week. Let's just assume that. And I'm not sure if Zero would have been my number one. We'll talk about that when we get there. Because I was a little surprised this week. But my least favorite book this week, I'm just going to lump all these together. Convergence tie-ins that I got. And that's Harley Quinn, The Question, and Knightwing and Oracle. They weren't bad stories in and of themselves. They just, to me, didn't make sense in context with the overarching story of Convergence. They all had happy endings, which didn't make sense because the whole point of Convergence is each, Dome City is pitted against each other until there's one left. So I don't know how after one fight they all get to live in peace. I don't. But beyond that, and besides, I'm still confused about how these cities function for a whole year under a dome. But I don't want to waste much time on that. I only have one more Convergence tie-in I'm picking up. That's Superboy number 2, and I'm not expecting much. And these stories shouldn't be having happy endings. And they should have come out after Convergence was over so that, we can see that the event was stopped so that they don't have to kill each other anymore. But at this point, they should have to move on to the next phase. But nobody died in any of the books except Renee Montoya's father died of cancer. That was a touching little moment at the end of that book. But I don't know. It was cool little moments for the characters, but for what they were, I don't know. They weren't effective as Convergence tie-ins. If they weren't related to Convergence at all, I probably could have appreciated them a little bit more. But they weren't great either way. But so I guess how many books did I get this week? That's whatever. I'm counting those as one. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So this will be my third favorite book of the week, and that is Kanan, The Last Padawan, number 2. And I like this a lot. And this stepped up from the first issue, which was kind of slow. Not much happened in this issue, but I liked it a lot. I liked what they did. It looked good. It looked cartoony. It doesn't look like the actual cartoon, and I'm not a faithful follower of the cartoon Star Wars Rebels, but I've seen a few episodes. More than a few episodes. I've probably seen half of the first season. And yeah, whatever. But it's not. It takes place before the show, and this is about Kanan, the last Padawan, who's with his Jedi Master when Order 66 comes in, and all of the stormtroopers turn on the Jedi, and they're ordered to kill all the Jedi. But Kanan escapes. His master dies. He sees his master die, and then he's on the run. And he's learning in this issue that he's going to have to, beg, borrow, and steal to survive. But yeah, considering what he became what he becomes on the cartoon, this is an honest beginning. And I like what they're doing. Maybe my favorite of the Star Wars titles, which is odd. Which isn't odd, which actually isn't odd, because the other ones have to be beholden to the characters, and they're set in some constricted time frame in between Empire Strikes Back and A New Hope, and this is free of any constrictions. They just have to tell how Kanan became Kanan, and it's a character that, as far as I know, hasn't existed outside of Star Wars Rebels, and that takes place years and years after this. So it makes sense that this will be the best of the bunch, because they have more freedom to do what they want to do with it. So, if you like the Star Wars universe and you want a good Star Wars title, I suggest Kanan. I think it's only a 5-issue miniseries. but that's the one to get. And my second favorite book of the week was, which I didn't pick up number 2 until, Free Comic Book Day. And so I read these back to back. Number 2 was better than number 3 because I like the artist or whatever. But anyway, my second pick of the week, number 2, Neverboy. And this is about an imaginary friend whose child died. So the imaginary friend is left in the world, and instead of being, I think in the issue he says being repurposed as another person, as another child's friend, he goes on the run. But in order to stay in the living world, he needs to take drugs. I don't know if it's specifically hallucinogens or just any type of narcotic. But yeah, he needs to stay on drugs. And he, in the last issue, he met up with a washed up old artist who could fix him up with a supply. And in return, Neverboy can lead him to this cafe that's like between worlds. It's like where imagination, I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, but yeah, it's like that cafe that exists in different spaces and is the headquarters, or that's where dreams and imagination come from. And the writer goes there, just sees it one time, and he was on a slump or hadn't produced anything in a while, and he goes there once and he produces a piece and takes it to a dealer, and the dealer's like, wow, if you produce more like this, you're back on top, and here's some cash and here's some drugs, and the guy gives the drugs to the imaginary friend so he can live and get his family back, because, whatever, too much to explain. It's a unique story, and I mean, it has a cool art style. I like it a lot. What else? There's some good looking pages in here. But if you're looking for something that's not superheroes, if you need a refresher from a break from, what is it? Convergence. Here's one way to go. Awesome little book. And I think this is a 5 or 6 issue miniseries. But we'll see. I'm on board with that one. And my number 1 pick of the week, which surprised and shocked and amazed me, Secret Wars number 1. Was fucking epic. I was like, what? If you like superhero comics, there's no reason you should not be reading Secret Wars. The only caveat is it may be a little complex if you haven't read Hickman's Avengers leading up to this. And I didn't. And it's also a little confusing because they have Ultimate Universe characters and 616 characters fighting each other, and you're like, wait a minute, you're who? But yeah, they look different. I think they look different enough and they write it well enough draw it well enough that you can tell who's who. But this is a thick book. I don't know if you can tell that. It's like twice the size of a regular comic. I mean, maybe close to twice the size. But it does have a preview at the end of Uncanny Inhumans, which I didn't read, and I'm not going to. But Secret Wars number 1, pick it up. It's $4.99, but guess what? You get the Battle World map. And this is like awesome production. It's the size of 4 comic books, clothes laid out. So yeah. See, it has Secret Wars, and there's the thing. So it's the size of 4 comics. It's pretty hefty, pretty durable, glossy. Ultimately pointless, but still kind of cool. But Secret Wars, beautiful, awesome, and that Punisher moment, highlight of the comic. I don't want to spoil it, but look out for Punisher. Yes. There's no way the rest of the series is going to be as consistently good as this issue. No way. So I'm not getting my hopes up. But this issue kicked ass. I'm glad I picked it up. I was hesitant. I wasn't impressed by the Free Comic Book Days #0. But this book, wow. Superhero comics at its finest. I guess that's it. I doubt I'll do an update this weekend after I pick up Convergence #5, because now I don't even know how I want to pick it up. After reading something as good as Secret Wars, like Marvel gets this concepts are so similar. But how Marvel got this so right and DC got this so wrong is mind-boggling. But I don't know. And that's why I generally read more Marvel. They normally appeal to me more. And it's no different here. Again, read Secret Wars #1. I don't care if you don't pick up #2. It's not going to be this good. But this was awesome. It looked great. I mean, nothing looks as good as the cover. The cover, wraparound cover. And it's a thick cover, thick book. At $4.99, I'd say maybe worth it. It's not. It wasn't cheap to produce, and you get the free little thingamajiggy. Good week all in all. If I'd have got Zero, I don't know if Zero. I don't know if I would have liked Zero #16 more than Secret Wars #1. I don't know if I've just gotten such a kick out of any of the issues, but it's a different kind of story. So I mean, I guess you wouldn't. But yeah, I was impressed. I was giddy after reading that. I was like, oh my god. And anyway, thank you, Marvel. That was awesome. Looking forward to next week. I think it comes out weekly. Maybe not. But anyway, that's it for this week. Give me a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't. And comment down below. Tell me what you thought about Secret Wars if you got it. If you didn't get it, tell me why not? Because this is what a superhero comic book event should be. If you're just opposed to events in general, period, I understand. But if you're just like they aren't good usually, that's not the case. So yeah, that was awesome. Awesome week. Can't wait to pick up Zero and Convergence. But I'll see you next week.